I believe we are.
Hmm.
Hello, everybody. It's Wes and Andy here for Fandom Power, and we're trying something a little different today. I don't know if you kind of look around behind us, but it's a little bit of a different scenario today. We are not in our normal broadcast location. We are now actually we're giving this a first go from my new home studio. So hopefully this comes across all right for you guys. And if you're just jumping into the stream now, today what we're going to cover, last weekend we saw the big global online event over at Warner Brothers and DC Comics. That's the DC Fandome. And I thought, you know what, before this gets too cold, let's take a look at some of the major announcements that came out of that. And let's kind of break some of the stuff down and talk about how do we feel about it. First off, did you catch any of it as it was airing?
I did not. I went back and actually watched all the trailers and whatnot after the fact. But
Yeah. All right. You know what? I'm the same way. I was definitely. Oh, we got comments already. Hey, it's our good friend Mark. Hello, Mark. All the way out in Nova Scotia. Welcome to the show, sir. We are talking today about the DC Fandome event from last weekend, where there was a lot of announcements made with regards to upcoming superhero stuff, which is the stuff that we kind of jive on. And we're going to get right into it here. We're going to start, we're going to lead off with one of the big ones here. And I'm just going to, let's put this up here and talk about Black Adam. So Black Adam's been in the works for a little while. I think shortly after we saw the Zachary Levi Shazam film, there was already sort of rumblings for Black Adam. And certainly if you're a fan of old DJ there, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, you know that he's sort of been campaigning for this role for a long time, and he's got it.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's banking on this though, like with his comments saying, the power hierarchy in the DC universe is about to change, and that puts him at the top.
Well, it definitely raises some questions about which version of Black Adam are we going to see in this upcoming film, because traditionally, or I should say historically, early Black Adam is like well into villain territory.
Yeah,
it's not until much later on where I guess he drifts more into anti-hero.
Yeah, sort of gray areas.
Anti-hero slash gray. Yeah, that's probably a better word for it. And there's some evidence here in the trailer, we're going to get into it, that sort of suggests maybe what version of the character we're going to get. And I'm going to be totally transparent here. I am not so versed in Black Adam that I pretend to know everything that's going on here. I'm kind of discovering it with everybody else as we go along.
Yeah, same here.
But I want to talk about some of the casting in this film. And, super excited to see that Pierce Brosnan's showing up here as Dr. Fate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, super intimate with Dr. Fate, but
they've teased him a lot through the CW shows and whatnot, but they've never
seen him
more into him.
We've seen him before in stuff like the Justice League Unlimited animated series. I'm not, did he show up in Young Justice?
Not too sure.
So in a nutshell, is essentially this well, I mean, several people have been Dr. Fate, and they're all kind of tied to this helmet that he wears. And essentially the helmet possesses the body of the wearer and bestows them with like incredible power.
Dr. Fate power.
Yeah, so like cosmic level.
Yeah.
Or near cosmic level power. Like Dr. Fate can like hang out with guys on a level like the Spectre.
Yes.
So if you're not familiar with Dr. Fate, at least what he looks like, this is fairly modern take on Dr. Fate. And of course there's that golden helmet, and we get this really, I guess we can kind of call it sexy.
Maybe
we get a sexy shot of the film helmet. Presumably they're doing, I noticed something as I was putting this together earlier this week when I was looking at the Peacemaker stuff. Have you seen the Suicide Squad yet?
I have not seen it yet.
But you've seen the marketing materials for it.
Yes.
So I mean, John Cena's character, Peacemaker, has a really, really shiny helmet.
Yes.
That's all done in post.
Really?
Yeah, the actual prop is pretty dull. Yeah. So there we go. We've got 007 himself, Pierce Brosnan, showing up as Dr. Fate. I should say that the film sort of acts as a quasi Justice Society film because we've got some other people coming in here. Namely, we've got Aldous Hodge here who's showing up as Hawkman. Now, Aldous Hodge, if you're not familiar with him, he first showed up in Die Hard with a Vengeance as a young teenage actor. He played the character Raymond. If you remember Die Hard with a Vengeance. More recently, you may have seen him in Straight Outta Compton as MC Ren, and he played Jim Knight in One Night in Miami. So Aldous Hodge is going to play Hawkman. Again, it's not 100% clear which version of Hawkman we're going to get.
Because they've already dumped one into DC's Legends, and he's come and gone.
So I mean, I don't want to get really deep into Legends of Tomorrow because I was a major fan for seasons 1 and 2, and then after that, it kind of went. Bleh.
Yeah, it's coming back around.
I think because they know that the
hammer
it's about to drop,
looming.
So might as well drop it with some gusto. But again, we get this tease here. We get a little Hawkman tease with the sigil, and man, that looks pretty cool.
It almost looks like a take on the Black Hawk logo. Almost
similar. Not surprising though that they've stuck with this. Like the DC EU, if anything, is certainly criticized for muted tones and sort of bringing the color palette way down, and they don't disappoint here. But it's cool though. I mean, look at the rivets on there. The rivets are like the paint is worn on them. There's some wear on the belt, on the buckle, and on the straps. So maybe this is an older version of Hawkman. Like,
could be.
We're talking the Justice Society. We're talking the precursor to the JLA. So we're talking what, like the golden age of comics.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much the 1940s.
Yeah, 40s, 50s.
40s, 50s, right. So we're gonna add to our Justice Society. We're gonna add in this person. This is Quintessa Swindle, and they are playing Cyclone. So another character that I just don't know anything about. And I'll be honest with you, when I started trying to put stuff together for our show, a lot of the imagery surrounding this character, I don't know if it's a fan thing, like a weird kind of like a sexual thing, but it's like every image that I found of her, there's a bunch of like almost meme like images where they're like, is she wearing underpants? So anyway, there's a relatively modern shot of the character who's a little more modestly dressed than what they've been shown as before. And again, we get that same sort of peek at the sigil of the Cyclone character. Now, this does not really, to me, this is not indicative of what we're seeing here. But again, this image here is not indicative of all the other ones that I saw online, which are like much more risque. So I would say, judging by this image, that she's going to be, or they're going to be a much more in line with sort of the other aesthetic that we've come accustomed to in the DC EU.
Now, was this character? I am not familiar with this character at all. Was this character created in the 90s, or?
I'm not sure. That's the one I'm going to have to look up,
because that might make sense with the weird way the costuming went in the mid to late 90s.
That's true. Like the Jim Lee, everybody needs pouches.
And
yeah, okay. All right. Next up for Black Adam, we're going to talk about this young gentleman here, Noah Centineo. And he's best known for his role as Jesus Adams in The Fosters and Peter Kavinsky in the Netflix To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You, and the sequel films to that series. Interestingly enough, this guy, he was attached to the live-action Masters of the Universe film over at Sony and then dropped out completely unannounced, no explanation given. I'd initially wondered if maybe it had something to do with the filming of Black Adam, but then, you know, you realize that the film is already shot.
Mm.
So I doubt that his exiting from the project is related. It's probably more related to the idea that, you know, Sony realized they don't want to throw $200 million at an untested property.
Oh, the test is coming.
I hope so. Lots of good stuff going on with that property, sort of on Netflix right now.
Yep.
And we're all kind of hungry for that live action film that we kind of have always dreamed about. Because let's be, as much as I love the Dolph Lundgren film,
it wasn't really He-Man.
Okay, well, there is that. So Noah Centineo, he's playing a character called Atom Smasher. Not really familiar with Atom Smasher. How about you?
Not that I can recall.
So I immediately I see this guy, and this is where I kind of was latched onto the He-Man thing. I'm like, well, this guy Noah Centineo, he's gonna have to bulk up if he's gonna, because he was supposed to play He-Man, and I'm thinking, okay, so like now he's playing a guy who's equally buff. I don't know about you, but I don't see it. And I know that the padded suit thing has come up quite a bit, especially in the DCEU. I know Zach Levi got highly criticized for his muscle suit, and he had some fun with it too, because he was like, "It's me. It's also a suit, you know." So Atom Smasher.
Well, they can do wonders with digital these days.
Well, this is it too. I mean, if you're watching any of those other, are you watching The Boys on Prime Video?
I am not up to date on.
But have you started it?
Yes.
Okay, so I mean, lots of muscle suits there. I mean, Homelander is like, and even that, you know, it looks okay. It looks okay. So I mean, who knows? But if they're gonna do a big bare-armed dude like this, he's gonna have to do something. Looks to me, I don't know if this is a small person here that he's holding, or like does Atom Smasher get really big, or
I don't know, but if it's
I don't know either.
to the Atom in any way, it could have like shrinking and growing powers.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Like it's just I don't know enough to be able to say.
Yeah.
But again, we get the hero shot here of the sigil, and we get to see some of the textures of the costume, pretty much in line with what we've come to expect. You know, the aesthetic that was sort of established back in Man of Steel, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we get the man himself. We get DJ. There he is, Dwayne, and he's our principal. Here he is as Black Adam himself. Now, this is a much more modern take on Black Adam. This is sort of circa the new 52. I guess that's what, 2015, I guess.
Around there, yeah.
2015. And I have to wonder if that's kind of where they're going with this film, if it's going to sort of land in that space. But pardon my next shot here, because when you're trying to screen cap this stuff and it's like shot after shot after shot, and it's really fast cuts, sometimes you don't get the most flattering shots. So I wanted to get the costume shot, because there's a couple where we get to see it pretty close up, and this was the best I could get. Sorry for the gratuitous butt shot, unless of course you like the gratuitous butt shot.
Somebody just gave us a like. So.
Someone gave us a like, yeah. So, and it's our friend Keith. Hey Keith, thanks for the like, and hope you're enjoying the show. If you're just joining us now, we're talking about last weekend's DC Fandome, and we're talking about some of the highlights that's coming out of DC Comics and Warner Brothers in the near future. Talking about Black Adam here, Dwayne Johnson, nice close up here of the Black Adam suit, and yeah, it's very reminiscent of the Shazam costume.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume that capes and cowls and hoods and stuff are probably going to be, you know, there's probably going to be some post production there.
Well, in the final shot of the teaser footage, you do get to see him all cowled up and kind of floating.
We do get that. There's a whole when we get into the, and I've kind of put these in out of order because I wanted to touch on sort of the cast first, and then kind of get to the meat and potatoes of the trailer, because the trailer kind of starts off, it gives us this sort of Indiana Jones Tomb Raider vibe, where we get this pair of characters who are you don't really know what they're doing at first. It looks like they're obviously in a tomb of some sort, or some underground place,
exploring some forgotten temple.
right? But let's talk about these two characters for a second, because they're not really, we don't really understand sort of the ramifications of who these characters are. So the woman on the left hand side of the shot, that's Sarah Shahai, and she's playing a character by the name of Adriana Tomaz. So anybody who's familiar with the Black Adam lore may recognize that as the character Isis. So Isis is actually Black Adam's wife.
Huh.
Or I should say, Adriana Tomaz is Black Adam's wife. Sarah Sahai, if you're wondering where you've seen her before, she was best known as Danny Reese across 32 episodes of Life, and she played Kate Reed in 23 episodes of Fairly Legal. This is not her first role for DC, though, as she did voice Killer Frost in an episode of Young Justice.
Nice.
So as I was saying before, although the character is Black Adam's wife, it's unclear if the film will follow suit, because she gains her powers through the amulet of Isis.
Huh.
And that amulet is imbued by Shazam himself. So we haven't seen Shazam since the last movie, The Wizard. Not really sure how that's going to play into form. But here's the thing, right? We're talking about Black Adam at the beginning, who's typically is, or has been, a villain, anti-hero, and then a hero. I mean, if they're taking this from the perspective that Adam is going to be a hero, keep in mind he's been imprisoned for like thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
According to sort of the new 52 version of the character, it's Isis that actually influences his mindset, because a lot of things, you're locked up for 3,000 years, the world moves on without you, your sort of worldview may be a little bit out of touch. So for him to wake up in the modern world, which he's going to, there has to be some reason for him to want to shift attitudes. And who knows, that might not even happen at all.
Huh.
So the other character in this shot, this is an actor by the name of Marwan Kenzari. He's a Dutch actor, and you probably recognize him, if you can at all, as Jafar, the live action Aladdin. All right. Also, he played Joe in the Netflix film The Old Guard.
I have not seen that one yet.
Yeah. Totally worth watching. You should check it out. So the rumor is that this guy, he's playing the character called Sabak. And so Sabak is rumored to be the film's main antagonist. However, like most comic characters, there have been more than one version of Sabak. And so we don't really know which version that we're going to get. But one thing is clear, Sabak, just like Shazam and just like Black Adam, he gains his powers by also speaking the code word. You know how like Shazam was like a code word for all of like the gods?
Yeah.
Mercury, Hermes, like all that stuff. So this one, Sabak, is actually the code word, and it's Satan, Am, Belial, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, and Kratos, which suggests that his powers are demonically fueled.
Hmm.
All right, so then we get a shot in there of what's called the Crown of Kandak. And this sort of sets us up to know that this is the version of Black Adam who was a ruler in ancient times. We see that shot of him. It looks like an Egyptian kind of, like Kandak looks basically like Egypt.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different. So the crown is definitely an indicator that this is where he is. And then we see later on in the trailer, we see that Isis, she speaks the word, speak my name, gives off the old Shazam, and boom, she frees Adam from his prison that he's been locked up in, for thousands of years. What's not clear is what's going on after that, and I still think that this is in the same sequence. We get this whole thing where Adam's being attacked by people, mercenaries. I don't know if they came with Isis and Sabak, or if they were,
using them,
chasing them. Who knows? But we get this like really cool display of the Black Adam, the Shazam power, the electricity. In fact, if you've watched the trailer, this guy essentially gets vaporized.
He turns to dust.
Yeah. And then we get the usual sort of superhero tropes. The I'm bulletproof. You can see he catches the bullet here and looks at it. And then at the end of it, as you said before, the trailer culminates with him sort of, rising up off the floor as they're shooting at him. And then it abruptly ends.
But they cloak his face. They don't reveal either which way at this point, because I know The Rock has been very vocal about making him a hero.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
see, I wasn't certain. I never got that vibe. And maybe I'm just not following Dwayne Johnson closely enough. But I was sort of I know he's talking, like you said, the power balance is about to shift. Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean for good or bad. I mean,
no, it could go either way.
that's what I mean. Like, I'm
that's
100% sure which way we're going to go with this. Like, he could be anti-hero where, I'm going to do the right thing, but for my own, selfish reasons.
Yeah.
Where are you on the I want to see it meter?
I'm definitely going to check it out. I can go to anything Dwayne The Rock Johnson and be entertained. So
I, I like a lot of the stuff that he's doing too lately. We watched Jungle Cruise recently, and you know, it- isn't it, he's in a very interesting relationship with Disney, right? I mean, the Witch Mountain movie, no, no, thank you. I'll go and watch the original, but like the Jungle Cruise movie was just it was a hit. It was a surprise knockout. I think though, you know, tonally speaking, having done the Jumanji films, it was probably a safe bet for him.
mm-hmm.
And I know that he's wanted to do superhero stuff for a while. So
Built
this,
for it.
well, this is it. I mean, there was his Hercules movie. I don't know if you saw
Yep.
that one.
Yep.
It was okay. It was okay. I still go back to the Rundown, and
Yes.
I still cite the Rundown as like one of his best films.
Yep.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's gonna put into this character, and are we gonna get? I'm sure he's gonna deliver on every action beat that it was promised. That I have no concerns about. I just want to know, is the depth there?
I think it will be. I
All
mean,
right.
you go back to his first acting role, right, as the Scorpion King in The Mummy 2,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was a villain. But in the follow up, the Scorpion King flipped and was the hero. So, he can
That is
play
true.
both ends of it.
Yeah, I just think about it, as an actor, we talk about an actor's range. And sometimes I mean, let's be real here. The Fast franchise, the Hobbs and Shaw thing, like it just God, I don't want to say pigeonholed, but I mean like Roadblock and G.I. Joe, like they all feel like those characters feel like two versions of the same guy.
Mm.
So when I talk about like range, I often wonder if maybe, again, kind of pigeonholed and only plays to a certain type. And I think the superhero genre is a pretty cool opportunity because, like Stan Lee said, it's easy to write superheroes. It's more difficult to write a nuanced character like that has everyday troubles and life issues. Not that he's gonna simplify that much and give Dwayne Johnson acne like teenage Peter Parker, but you get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
What's this guy gonna be like after being in prison for 3,000 years? And like there's a whole lot of things that have changed. You wake up 3,000 years later and everybody is dead. That's a major impact on a character. So I'm curious to see if Dwayne can pull off a little bit more, well, a little bit more range.
I got faith in him. I mean, from his wrestling years to his Hollywood years, like from the Rundown to the Tooth Fairy to
Right.
Be Cool.
Oh, okay. So Be Cool is actually one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, because it takes him right out of his normal
Big,
Hobbs
oh
type
yeah,
role.
big time. Huge. All right. Let's move on to our next one. Are you following any of the CW shows?
I am.
Okay, so I was sort of all in on Arrow, and I bounced in and out sort of as the seasons waxed and waned, but I did get through every piece of it. And then Flash came along, and Flash was this like super refreshing. It was so much lighter, and it was just a lot more fun. I don't know if I can say that if that's the right word for it, but it just felt tonally lighter. And it's had its ups and downs, and I think I mean everybody's bailed on the show now, so I mean it's who's left.
Oh no, Grant Gustafson's still there, and
He's still there, but Cisco left,
he just left.
and now Killer Frost is leaving.
Hmm.
Tom, Canadian, he directed a few episodes. Reverse Flash, Harry,
Okay, yeah,
Tom Cavanaugh,
yeah.
he left the show. So it's like, oh, why are these people bailing?
Are we sure he's left the show? Because at the season finale of last season, he's back in it.
As a regular, or
Possibly because he
interesting?
sets him up to be like, the villain for the season going forward.
Oh, oh, maybe I'm gonna have to catch up again because I kind of lost interest there for a little while, like when Cisco kind of gave up being a hero.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
Remember back in season one?
Sort of.
Let's go all the way back to season one, and let's remember the Flash suit.
Yeah.
Like, how hot was that leather bag he was wearing? It's come a long way though. We've seen that the leather suit. By season three, I think he'd moved into a fabric suit.
Yeah.
But he still had the leather cowl for a while, which was really off-putting. And then they did away with that, and now he's got like a full fabric, although it's probably a molded headpiece with fabric stretched over top of it. And now the big thing is going into season 8. Finally,
Get the gold
the
boots.
Flash is going to have gold boots, and I know if you're a Flash fan, that's probably a big deal.
About time.
I wasn't really upset with either way, to be
Yeah.
honest, one way or the other.
But getting closer to that comic book accuracy.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, there you go. Gold boots going into season 8. I don't know if I'm going to watch it or not. There's going to have to be some big things for me to want to dive back in wholeheartedly.
Well, they're kicking it off with a 5-part apocalypse storyline, I think it is.
Really?
Yeah.
So is this going to be the like with Arrow, with the demise of Arrow? How are they handling the crossover stuff now? Is that what this is going to be?
It might be because I'm pretty sure Black Lightning is in the trailer.
So that makes sort of Flash as the flagship show.
Yeah.
Now that
I would say so.
that Arrow is gone. Okay, well, yeah, because I mean, Crisis was what, last year?
Yep.
And yeah, well, Supergirl's going off the air too,
It's
right?
in its
So
final season. Yeah, they're airing the last episodes now.
we know the Batwoman's still going to go on for at least one more season.
Yep.
Who's left?
They still have the Superman and Lois.
Yep.
And then, like you said, Batwoman. I don't know how long Legends is going to keep going.
I kind of thought that this season might be it.
It's possible
because Sarah Lance and her girlfriend just got married.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so I think we're kind of. I don't know if we can tell any more stories there. Really, I mean, for me, after they, I know he's a total copycat character, but when they dumped Rip Hunter, I was like, come on, you just got rid of Doctor Who. That's who he is. I mean, he's the Doctor Who character of the show.
Well, in the last episode, they did tease a possible return.
See, now you're killing me. Now I got to go back
because they've got
the stuff.
They're in a spot right now that the Wave Rider has been destroyed,
right?
And they're trying to figure out who did it. So
okay,
there's this entire table full of suspects,
right?
And Rip Hunter is one of the names.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we're gonna move on now. We're getting away from TV here for a second. We're gonna go back into the movies, and this is another one now. I'm looking forward to this one. I know I criticized the first film, but let's look at Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. You know, as I said, I criticized the last movie. Talk about range. Going to go back to an actor's range. Jason Momoa in this movie, in the original film, I said Aquaman was an opportunity for Jason Momoa to play Jason Momoa. And I stand by that. I thought, it was fun. It had lots of action, and I really liked that. But I mean, he wasn't Aquaman. He was Aqua Bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So,
the cooler version that everybody needs to see.
Aquaman is a cool character. And I mean, the character gets ragged on so much.
Looking at you, Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. And it's difficult to tell really cool Aquaman stories for a wide audience because it's such a niche character. I mean, he lives underwater, and this fascination with Atlantis and the Lost Kingdom and all that stuff. I totally see sort of where maybe some of the inspirations are coming for this movie, and I hope that there's a little bit more more to this one. I know the last one was big in terms of like scope. We got that undersea battle that made the Lord of the Rings battles look like a skirmish. So hopefully this one will deliver. So again, we got James Wan coming back as our producer director, and we got obviously Jason's coming back as Arthur. He's a bigger, much more expanded role in this movie because I think he had a lot to do with sort of some of the story ideas and some of the production details are on him. Now the biggest, I think. Oh, I put this one out of order. Hold on a second here. I'm going to switch this up. I'm going to drop down here to go to this guy. We got Yahya Abdul Mateen II, who's coming back as Black Manta. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Jason is coming back as Aquaman, but hey, check it out. Aquaman's got a new suit. We're going to talk about that a little bit later here going on. Yeah, so Yahya Abdul Mateen II is Black Manta. And really like the look of the, can we call them his goons?
Sure.
The old style, like diving bell, like really, really ancient, like frogman helmets.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that look. It's pretty cool. All right, and this one was a surprise one for me because I didn't think that they would put him back in the sequel right away. Certainly not in a prominent role. Patrick Wilson is back as Ocean Master, and I really like the Ocean Master character. Probably one of the better DC villains in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But surprise, I don't know if you can see. Oh, so there he is as Ocean Master. But surprise here, Ocean Master, that looks to be one of Black Manta's goons, and just over Orm's right shoulder, is that not Aquaman?
Looks like it is, yeah.
So brother and brother are working together now?
The enemy of my enemy is my friend or something?
Possibly. I'm not sure. But I'm excited to see him come back because I quite liked him. No word on whether Volko is coming back. Kind of hope he does, but we get this really cool flashback sequence where hey, we're gonna see King Atlan, and I'm not sure if that's not the Trench.
It's possible.
Looks kind of like the Trench fighting behind him. So I presume that this is a flashback. Unless there's time travel in this movie, I can't see him showing up in any other way, especially seeing as he's wearing the traditional the green and gold.
It is comics, so yeah.
It is.
Nobody's ever really dead.
That is true. I should point out that Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is still quite a ways away at coming in at next December 16th, 2022. So they should be starting post-production here pretty soon. Pretty much take a year for post-production and reshoots and stuff to get any of that put together. And moving on, of course, Mara is coming back. Amber Heard's Mara.
I guess they did not bow to
no
fan outrage.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to cancel everybody. You think they do, but then they don't.
Well, how come I can't get my Jack Sparrow back then?
What?
Isn't Johnny Depp out?
Out of what?
Jack Sparrow.
Oh, I didn't know that. I guess maybe
it's all spinning out of this situation.
I knew that there was a legal issue, and I knew that he had lost a court case, but I don't know. I don't know what to believe. Just because a court rules something doesn't mean that something didn't happen. It just means it wasn't criminal.
True.
Excuse me while I sip on my coffee here. Check in with our comments here right now. Hey, Facebook user, you say that he can talk with fish. He absolutely can talk with fish. That was actually a pretty cool moment in the first film. A young Arthur standing at the aquarium and summons the shark, who obviously we saw hit the glass. And that, but is that a power that's really useful when you're on the surface?
Maybe. You got some fish that can walk.
Walking fish?
Well, creatures that can walk.
Okay,
anyway.
well, in the comic books, I guess so.
Well, no, crabs walk, lobsters
That is
walk.
true. Oh, yes, crustaceans. I guess they're
sea
fish
creatures.
for sure. We'll have an entire kingdom of Atlanteans that are crustacean based.
Yeah. And who knows what else is down in the depths.
Well, and that's just it. So let's get into that a little bit more here, because this is the Lost Kingdom. So I'm going to get a little bit meta here, because there are, according to the DC world, there are 7 Seven kingdoms, if you include the Lost Kingdom. Now, I mean, we can attribute that to a couple of things, and we can go to the old idiom, sailing the seven seas, which kind of makes it one kingdom for each of the old seven seas: the Aegean, the Adriatic, Mediterranean, Black Sea, Red Sea, Caspian Sea, and the Persian Gulf is thrown in there for kicks. It could also refer to the like nowadays the modern oceans, and I kind of think that that's more likely the case because we get that sequence. Oh, where is it here? I got to find it. We get this scene, which is we didn't see this in the first movie. A lot of what we saw was like North Atlantic kind of stuff when Aquaman was visiting his dad, and then we get to see some of the the bright, vibrant Mediterranean blue green oceans. We never did see cold Arctic / Antarctic waters. So I kind of think that maybe the seven kingdoms, that the seventh kingdom might actually be linked to somewhere cold.
Probably.
And I think they're going to do like a, the whole center journey to the center of the earth spin on it, where it's like this impossible, like environment to travel through, that it's like deadly. But then when you get there, it's beautiful.
Gateway to paradise.
Right. Because there's also this like mystery island. I mean, it totally has that, like it's got a big volcano in the middle. Yeah. So no surprise. I think we are going to revisit some of the places we've been before, like the Desert Kingdom, which is one of the Atlantean kingdoms. It just dried up.
Maybe they just need more information from that temple.
Maybe. But like I say, the movie's still a long ways off, so all we have really to go on is a lot of concept art. I presume that that's Aquaman with the trident, but then again, it looks like the costume is suggestive of maybe one of good Lord, Ocean Master's minions. And then is this a new vessel for not Ocean Master, Black Manta?
Maybe.
Is that a Black Manta submarine?
Or maybe they're using it to lean heavy into the mysterious island. And
it's got a Nemo. Look at the eye on that. That looks like the Nautilus, right? With the big eyeball on it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get some, obviously we're going to get some action shots. I think that's Aquaman there fighting some kind of weird jellyfish. And then what? Like a steampunk. Can you have steampunk underwater?
Sure. There's steam vents underwater.
It'd be bubble punk. I don't know. All right. So yeah, you get that. Like I said, you get that that ocean shot where I don't know if that's Arthur or Orm diving in there or just another Atlantean. What are they doing there? Presumably they're searching for the Lost Kingdom. Why are they searching for the Lost Kingdom? I have no idea.
To save the narwhals.
I guess so. But a lot of the stuff was out of order, and I tried. Now this is just me taking a shot in the dark here, but I tried to rearrange some of these next shots in order because I think that they are all the same place. I think this island might actually be sort of the gateway to the Lost Kingdom. And I mean, you've got that big volcano, you've got, raging waterfalls. I call this one, it looks kind of like Pandora from Avatar.
And looking at those flowers now, they do kind of look like those jellyfish.
In a way they do. I mean, the little wispies on there, they could be tentacles. And I mean, the scale of those two individuals in the shot, who knows? It could be the same thing.
Yeah.
There's a big waterfall there, rocky. That looks like a building in the background. Well, maybe it's not a waterfall. Maybe that's a rock. These look like kind of drones or robots or something. Maybe some like ancient century kind of things. And then here we are with some big, locust, grasshoppery things. Again, in this Pandora, like, lost world sort of civilization. So I think all of these are sort of surrounding on this island.
Now, is that a tree that has fallen, or is it like a sculpture of two hands?
To me, it looks like, I think it's some kind of statue, really.
Yeah.
And I'm not certain what it is.
You'd half expect to find King Kong on the other side of it.
Well, yeah, exactly. So this, I was going to go and get an image. Like we talk about, Aquaman getting sort of made fun of, right? And one of the traditional like images is the Aquaman rides a seahorse. Remember the old Filmation cartoon?
Yes.
And him riding a sea, or even the beginning of Super Friends where he's riding the seahorse, and it's hard not to not to chuckle at that. But then I assume that we're getting an adaptation of that in this scene, and it's like, oh, that looks pretty badass. All right, so I want to talk a bit about the suit here for a second, and I made some notes about it here. Where are they? Here we go. The suit itself has been referred to as the stealth suit. And according to James Wan, this suit is actually inspired by the blue suit that Aquaman wore in a 4-issue miniseries back in the 80s.
Okay.
So if the suit is actually more akin to the blue suit, it may be that it has a natural camouflaging properties that are supposed to basically mask Aquaman with the ocean floor. So we could be getting some new abilities from Aquaman based on this suit.
Or it could just be a curveball and it's just a blank canvas for them to fill in later digitally.
Well, there is that too. I don't even have a comparison shot here, the comic panel to show you, but yeah, there is some detail. I'm going to go back up to the other Aquaman shot here for a second because it's a little clearer. You've got some detailing on the shoulders that kind of remind me of the comic suit. I'll see if I can find. Let me just take a second here and see if I can find the blue suit. There we go. I'm going to just save this for a second here.
Awkward silence.
I know. Talk amongst yourselves. It takes me a second to set this up. I should have had this done ahead of time. I'm so sorry. All right, here, let's check this out. So here we go. Let's have a look at the comic suit that this is inspired by. I'm not even sure if that's oh, maybe I turn off this overlay here. There we go.
There you go.
There we go. Now we can see it. So there's the this is the blue suit that the stealth suit is inspired by, and I dig it. It's it looks like something out of the 80s. I can totally see why they went for a more subdued black stealthier looking thing, but it's still okay. I mean, I can buy this.
Yeah, it looks a little bit ocean ripply.
Or yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Blue flamey.
Yeah. All right. Well, so there you go. Where are we talking here? Just a second. What was that? All right. So Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, December 16th, 2022. We still got a ways to go for this one. In terms of your see it, don't see it, where are you at with this one?
Probably home theater release, but
you'll wait for home media?
More than likely.
Okay. We stream a lot too. So like honestly, now by 2022 though, all bets are off because it's only the 2021 movies that Warner is same day streaming as a theatrical release. So provided the world is still moving in the right direction next Christmas, you'll be seeing that one in theaters, or you'll wait at least 45 days later.
Yep.
Okay, where are we now here?
We are moving on to Peacemaker.
Oh wait, I got another interlude here. I got another little comic interlude. This is a big announcement, and this one, of course, you know,
I can see
is driving people. It's polarizing, right?
It is.
And you ready for this one? Superman got a new motto. So this has come up before. They changed the motto when Superman Returns came out. I don't remember the scene at the Daily Planet where Superman had come back, and Perry White's like, "Where's he been? What's he doing? Is he still about truth, justice, and all that stuff?" And people lost their minds. Where's truth, justice, and the American way?
Well, the American way has been lost of recent years.
Well, listen, we're in Canada, and I know that as Canadians, a lot of times it's like it's through the looking glass down there, and you kind of like go, oh, suddenly, I think the people who are responsible for making this stuff are acutely aware of sort of,
the geopolitical state of everything,
yeah,
and how much
that's a
Trump
very
kind of
polite way.
messed it up.
Well, that's a nice way of putting it. So now Superman is truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. And isn't that what Superman
It,
has always been about?
it's more inclusive. It's still good. It's still in the spirit of Superman.
I
So
think
really,
that people who get upset about this, a lot of people who get upset about this, especially if you're just gonna focus on the line truth, justice, and the American way. When was the last time you read a Superman comic book?
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like the character has so far evolved from that. Like it's not even. It's such an afterthought now. I don't even associate Superman with those words. I haven't for 15, 20 plus years,
yeah.
honestly. So yeah, Superman got a new mission, new mission statement, new slogan, and I like it. All right, let's get on to it. Peacemaker coming out here January 2022. No specific release date yet that I could find. And the thing about this one is if you if you haven't seen James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, definitely check it out. Peacemaker is sort of I mean, he might be one of the standout characters of that movie. Certainly enough that they believed in him to get a TV series.
And it's
So,
coming from HBO Max, so you know it's going to be more adult oriented.
well, this is the thing. I mean, DC, their streaming service, I think besides the comic books, I think they pretty much folded everything into HBO Max.
Yeah,
And I think that was just a decision from Warner. Like, why have two streaming services? That being said, though, as it is an HBO series, they can do
some pretty brutal
well, I was
stuff.
going to say they can do adult stuff and not have to worry about sort of ratings issues. All right, John Cena is back again as our title character, the Peacemaker himself. Funny little thing there, a little Canadian connection there to this series. In the trailer, we see that Peacemaker has just woken up. He's still in the hospital that he was left in at the spoiler for you, Andy. Peacemaker goes to hospital.
Oh,
He was shot by oh my god. Bloodsport shot him. We thought he was dead, but then we see them in a little bit of a post-credit stinger that he's still alive in the hospital. So clearly now he's woken up and he's starting to get back to the world. He steps out into the hallway and he runs into this janitor who's played by Rizwan Manji. And for those of you who are fans of Schitt's Creek, you may remember him as Ray Butani, the real estate agent from Schitt's Creek. And they have this really wonderful line together. He's like, "Hey, I'm in here because I got injured." He's like, "For what?" "Superhero stuff." And he's like, "Well, what superhero are you?" He's like, "Peacemaker." He's like, "There's no superhero named Peacemaker." Totally dismisses him and laughs. It's a great little moment. And then, of course, so here's Peacemaker. This is what he looked like in the Suicide Squad. And I put this up here to highlight it. So not only can you see what the character looks like, but also to illustrate that it looks like at some point over the course of the, I think it's 8 episodes that we're getting, he gets a helmet upgrade.
hmm.
So there's something going on there with this helmet where they've notched out the center part of that. I don't know what you call it, the rim of the helmet, and they've added some lenses. Looks like red lenses into the helmet itself. So Peacemaker's going to get a helmet upgrade.
Well, he is going to work for some new people. They can provide him with some new tech.
That's true. I understand that this is still a version of Task Force X,
Hmm.
but it's not directly controlled by Amanda Waller. The other thing is there's a shot of Peacemaker and a character Vigilante. Vigilante, it looks like they got like the buddy. It's almost a bromance going on there. The vibe I get, like Vigilante just wants to hang out with Peacemaker.
Yeah, don't worry about him. It's just him.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I don't know if I got the shot of him hiding behind the dumpster. I don't think I did. But we get hold on a second here. We get yeah, there he is, hiding behind the dumpster. hey, who's that? Oh, that's just Vigilante. He's just trying to help out, right? So like he ends up becoming part of the team. But this is now I'm gonna try to say his name properly, and I don't want to screw this up. I checked it out last night, so it's Chukwudi Ivuji as Clemson Mern. Now, Clemson Mern, there's not a lot of information that I can find about this guy, except that he's a middle-aged mercenary who's been hired by Amanda Waller to lead a version of Task Force X. And based on what happened in The Suicide Squad, I presume that he's sort of the Rick Flag stand-in character for this for the series. We also get Jennifer Holland coming back as Amelia Harcourt. Amelia and her partner John Economos, who were part of the revolt against Amanda Waller, ended up getting basically shoveled off to babysitting duty. And sort of this is the Amanda Waller's retribution against these two, is that they have to babysit Peacemaker. So we're going to see them come back. And then we get a new addition to the team. We get Danielle Brooks as Leota Adebayo. Now, you might remember her from Orange is the New Black.
Probably, yeah.
She was Tasty in Orange is the New Black. Awesome role for her. Awesome actress. I think she's going to be amazing in this. Still don't know what her role is, like what her role to the team is. But here we are with what I've called Team Peacemaker. Far left of the shot there, the giant bald eagle, which has just been affectionately named Eagly. James Gunn actually went on the record and corrected HBO and Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers put out on their social media, they said Eagly, but they spelt it wrong. And then James Gunn himself came back and corrected them. So the trailer doesn't really give us a whole lot. It gives us a bunch of like shortcuts of like obviously Peacemaker getting out of the hospital and then sort of getting back into, fighting form with the help of Vigilante. You're one of the greatest, whatever. And so they have that little moment where they're shooting, and then the team gets kind of put together. And as they're riding in the back of the van or whatever, you get Clemson Mern, who basically tells them that their first target happens to be a United States senator and his family. But we don't get any other details other than that's how it starts out. But at some point, Peacemaker has to go home. And when he gets home, we actually find out that Robert Patrick, the T-1000, Robert Patrick, is actually playing his father, plays Augie Smith, which is, of course, Peacemaker's father. Now we get this little thing here. And this character I know nothing about. I had to look him up to figure out who he was. It's a guy by the name of Judo Master, and he's going to be played by a Vietnamese actor, Nu Lee. There's not a lot going on for this character. We don't really know what his role in the series is going to be, whether he's an antagonist to the team, to Peacemaker. Presumably he is, but he looks a lot different than his comic book iteration, which presumably is a martial arts master. I mean, they're just kind of leaning. I don't gonna take a chance here. Like they're kind of leaning into almost to a racial stereotype. So I'm interested to see what this is going to look like and what this character means to the show. And then of course we get this like kind of scene stealer moment where
the eagle is hugging me at my camera.
Presumably, this was a pet eagle that he'd had, and I don't know. It's like a homecoming. Anyway, in this scene, he's like, "Look, Dad, he's hugging me," and Robert Patrick's character just walks away. Yeah, so there's the Peacemaker trailer. If you have not seen The Suicide Squad by James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy fame, do go out and see it. Like I said, Peacemaker is a pretty cool character. He's got a couple like cool moments in that movie. And I'm curious to see what John Cena is going to do with a TV series. Like, I was not a big fan of like his direct to video stuff. Like, what is it, The Marine? To me, that when I saw that the WWE had produced that movie, I'm like, I'm just not watching it because it just meant low budget. But the big budget stuff that he's been in,
the other stuff has been good, like Blockers.
Well, I was going to
with,
say
with
that
comedy vibe, he is really nailing it.
And Peacemaker, by and large, throughout the whole film, The Suicide Squad, is he does have these comedic beats, and they're pretty genuine.
And if I'm not mistaken, James Gunn is directing a few episodes of this series.
I think he's directing 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check that, but I think it's 5 or 6 episodes.
So it should keep the same feel anyway.
Yeah, a little while ago, there was an announcement made that definitely got me excited, and then it just kind of quieted down, and nobody's really said anything about it since then until Fandom came up last weekend. But if you weren't aware of this, there is a new Batman animated series on the horizon called Batman Caped Crusader, and it is going to be in the noir style. So I'm not sure if Bruce Timm has any involvement on this one, but I'm curious to see how this is going to play out, because that kind of looks like the year one Batman.
A little bit.
Yeah. So interesting to see how that's going to go. But it says that it's going to be telling, nuanced, stories. Presumably, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a rehashing of the 90s, the animated series, but definitely a return to a darker. I think that's what people, want to see in their Batman.
A little bit.
Speaking of Batman, now I kind of argued with myself if I wanted to, save this one till the end. But this one, it does not excite me as much as the last one that I put in here. So we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about, of course, the Batman. And I think this was a big one for a lot of people, and it still is. You can't talk about the Batman without, talking about the casting choice of Robert Pattinson as Batman / Bruce Wayne. And I know that brought up a lot of controversy. Like, what is he going to be? Sparkly Batman?
Vampire Batman.
Right. What do you think about Pattinson as
I will reserve judgment until I see it, because some actors, you see them in one thing and you hate them, but then you see them in something else and it's just like, wow.
I've caught some clips. I haven't watched the film yet, but I've caught some clips of him from The Lighthouse. And all I can say is the dude is intense. Like super, super intense. So we get a pretty cool trailer here. There's a lot to unpack in it, and I tried to get as much as I could, but again, it's Batman. So like you talk about being dark, the film is dark. The lighting conditions are dark. So there's a lot of stuff that I wasn't able to get. So I'm going to just start it here. There's a poster. If you haven't seen the bat suit yet, that's kind of what it looks like. And as I said before, we got Robert Pattinson coming in here as Bruce Wayne / Batman. And in a surprise, Andy Serkis is our Alfred in this one. And there's a line here. I can't remember what he says to him, but he's like, but you'll have nothing left. Just the emotion in Andy's voice. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he portrays Alfred.
I think he'll do well at it.
The Alfred character, I think, has been one of the most. I mean, he's a crucial. You can't have Batman without Alfred.
Well, that's something they're testing right now in the comics.
Really?
Yeah, Bane did him in.
Oh man. All right. And a surprise for me, Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. So that's going to be kind of cool. I like Jeffrey Wright. He was our Felix Leiter in the Daniel Craig Bond films. He also starred in the Westworld.
It's the Watcher
TV series. Yes, and he's our Watcher. So we get this opening shot of the police stacking up on a coffee shop, and they basically tell this guy to put his hands up, and he throws his hands up, and they slam him into the counter. And as the camera pans up over the cup of coffee, we see, the question mark in the foam there. And notice the color palette.
Green and white.
It's green and white. So that brings us to what I think is going to be our main villain of the movie, which is Paul Dano. He's going to be playing the Riddler. Now, Paul Dano's Riddler is not Edward Nygma. It's Edward Nashton. Does that mean anything to you?
Not that I can tell.
No, me neither. Maybe that's just a they've just changed it for the film. I don't know. If you don't remember him, or if you think you've seen him before, now I have not seen a lot of this man's work, but he was Hank in Swiss Army Man, the Daniel Radcliffe movie where he can kind of do is a dead body that can do anything. Do you remember that?
I do.
Oh, okay. Swiss Army Man. So then, the Riddler, we never get a good look at him, except we get this like TV shot where that's the Riddler talking to, whatever, making his demands. But of course, you can thank, Hollywood marketing and the toy companies for giving us a better look at the Riddler, as that is the 6-inch or 7-inch McFarlane Toys Riddler action figure.
I can actually see some customs coming from this right now. For our Canadian fans, there's your perfect base for the Green Bastard. A little bit of Trailer Park Boy action.
I actually thought the body was a good. My first impression was Bruce Willis from Unbreakable. Although that was a rain poncho, wasn't it?
I think so.
All right.
That head sculpt could be a definite double, though, for Bubbles.
Oh, my God.
Parts unknown.
So yeah. We get Zoe Kravitz in this one. Zoe Kravitz is your new Selena Kyle / Catwoman. And again, this trailer did not have a super clear image of her, so I had to go and find one. But there's some images of your Catwoman. It's unclear. I think she's going to get a new suit as the movie transitions, because to me, this just looks like a crappy old balaclava that she dragged over her head, and just the way that it's stitched
just
happens to form little
ears.
Yeah, exactly. Because you get later on, you get this scene between the two of them, and whatever she's wearing is much more form fitting. And of course, she's got her helmet, she's got her mask off, so it can't really tell. And now the next thing I want to talk about in this is because I mean, Batman is nothing without a solid rogues gallery.
True.
And we're going to get more of them in the form of the Penguin. Now, I'm going to go over here and have a look. There's a close-up of the Penguin. And do you know who's playing the Penguin in this movie?
I do not.
Would you believe that it's Colin Farrell?
Really?
Yeah. So Colin Farrell, I thought, okay, I mean, I haven't seen him for a while. I mean, he's been kind of quiet for a little while. And I thought, it's been a few years. What does Colin Farrell look like now? So I went and found this paparazzi shot. This is Colin Farrell in June of this year. So the movie's already filmed. Talk about transformative.
Wow.
So, I mean, can we say that that's all prosthesis?
I would say pretty heavy, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, unrecognizable. Yeah. Colin Farrell in June of 2021 out for a run, looking as fit and trim as ever. And then you flip over here to the look of him as the Penguin, and you're like, what? I don't care. This movie is so damn hype. I'm in. I am right with you there, Red. I'm definitely going to go and see it. Definitely want to see. I'm going to avoid this one in 3D if 3D is an option, because 3D generally makes the screen darker, and this film is already dark enough that I want to be able to see everything without having to turn up the brightness.
Well, apparently, there's going to be lots of explosions, though.
There is going to be some explosions.
Heavy in the trailer.
I didn't get the explosion. Again, talking about dark though, you get this like kind of cool image of Batman marching down, and I say marching towards these goons.
Yeah, almost Terminator-esque.
Very much. And I mean, they're rocking full auto on him, and he doesn't like miss a step, subdues the baddies, and yeah. So can we say that's a bulletproof bat?
I would say so, yeah.
Bulletproof suit anyway. I want to touch on the rogues thing for 1 second. I didn't get a shot of it. There's a scene in the trailer where Batman is facing off a bunch of goons, and they all look like they're wearing
some sort of
Joker style makeup.
Is it Joker style or is it Black Mask style?
I presumed Joker style.
They look skullish to me.
I got white face, big lips, darkened eyes, almost like the I got a vibe of
mime vibe.
Yeah, or the Heath Ledger Joker vibe. I'm vengeance. That's so true. It is dark enough.
Doesn't have to tell anyone he's Batman. People just knew it.
But so, and here's the thing. So right after that scene, it transitions to another sequence where Batman has gone to, I don't know if it's Arkham or it's a prison, and the camera pans up and there's a character in a striped, red and white striped prison uniform, and Batman punches the glass and he screams, "What did you do?" And I'm like, is that the Joker? And the Joker's in prison for this movie? And
it's possible.
The whole is it the whole Clarice and
Dr. Lecter.
Yeah, Hannibal Lecter is Joker the Hannibal Lecter of this movie, and Batman has to consult the Joker to defeat the Riddler. Because that's a cool dynamic.
That would actually be a weird twist on a storyline that's going on right now in the comics. It's the Joker's puzzle box.
Interesting.
And basically the cops are trying to interrogate the Joker to find out who killed Edward Nygma.
Oh, it's interesting.
So,
all right. So that's all I'm going to say about the Joker. I know that he has not been revealed to be a character in this film, but I would not be surprised if he turns up, like I said, in this consultant.
Well, a lot of people are trying to break down that glass scene to see who is in the reflection.
Oh, so I don't have the time or the energy for that. I just want to have fun with this stuff. Yes. So explosions, big explosion scene surrounding the new Batmobile. And there's a pretty good shot just before it crashes through those boxes. I love this design.
If you're out and about at your Canadian Dollaramas, make sure you check there because they have been cited.
I absolutely love this design, and for a couple of reasons. This, more than any other Batmobile, harkens the most back to the 66 Batmobile.
Think so?
Oh, look at the front end of that. I love it. There's, even you could make an argument, like where the windshield wipers are, the wipe marks are almost indicative of the domed glass of the 66 Batmobile.
Fair enough.
The shape of the hood, sort of the headlights are recessed, like the hood creeps over them. I just love it. And then you get from the back end, come on, there's your classic wingtails and that the bat thruster, as I call it.
Yep. The Battle-ack.
The Battle-ack. Certainly more Batmobile-esque than the Tumbler. Not that the Tumbler wasn't cool, but I mean,
but it was more of a military vehicle.
Yeah,
than a
this
Batmobile.
is a car, not a tank. Right? I mean, that's a cool car. You could drive that down the street in the middle of the daytime and be less, well, maybe not less noticeable, but
more so.
You could lose that in traffic a lot easier than you could the Tumbler.
You could race that against Dominic Toretto.
Oh my God. So true.
Yeah, if you find it, $1.50 Hot Wheels at Dollarama.
But I mean, you cannot have a Batmobile without having the
toys,
the thruster, right? So I mean, it was an iconic piece of Batman lore. So the big explosion is chase sequence. It's the Penguin. He's being chased by Batman, and there's a large explosion. I don't know, truck or something.
Maybe gas truck or who knows.
And he's like, I got him.
Finally got him.
And then the Batmobile jumps through it, and the look on his face, what? As he speeds up and
ends
basically
his car.
I was gonna say he goes to pull a pit maneuver on the Penguin and overdoes it and rolls him. And that really is sort of there's a few other things that happen in the trailer. We visit looks like a cemetery at one point. There's the cautionary from Alfred who tells them that, to be careful or there'll be nothing left. And then the response, I don't know if it's just clever editing, but the response in the trailer is, I don't care what happens to me. So I should have got that scene with the glass because there's one other thing I want to talk about. I must have missed it. When he punches that glass, looks like there's some kind of like wrist launcher. It almost looked like his forearm is covered in like crossbow bolts or like arrows of some kind.
More bat toys.
Yeah, but it's a new take on gadgets that we haven't seen before, because usually the gadgets are, I mean, the grapnel gun obviously is a classic one, but like the the utility belt, right? Another iconic thing with Batman is it's always something that's concealable. He's got to pull it out. We don't really see like strap on like external
Yeah, it's usually just
pieces.
the three blades, if
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Which I think in one where you could remove them and they became batarangs, right? You
Yeah.
could throw them, yeah. All right, so there's a quick look at the Batman. Like I said, the Batman is March 4th, 2022. So it's actually not that far away.
No,
What do you think of this one?
I'm in for it.
I'm
Looks good.
definitely in as well. All right, and that brings me to the one that I am most excited about. You would think that I would have ended on Batman, but I'm not. I am super, super, super excited for The Flash. I cannot wait to see this movie. Um, and I there's so much going on here. It's actually one of the shortest trailers that we got for the entire for the whole Fandom event, but there's some really cool stuff going on here. Now, one of the biggest criticisms of this film already is this just another Batman movie with a different label on it?
No, I would say definitely no.
We know that this is going to be a version of the Flashpoint storyline, um, which in itself is super, super cool. Now, they kind of did a version of Flashpoint on the CW show where Barry went back to try and save Nora. Um, and
And
it kind of worked, but
he ended up changing some aspects, but it was weird because he
right,
changed aspects outside of the Flash show. Like,
right, because Diggle had a son instead of a daughter.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, this one is, you know, oh my god, I don't even know where to begin on this. There's so much going on in the Flashpoint comic book. We go to an alternate. We get an alternate Gotham City where Thomas Wayne has become the Batman because Bruce was the one killed in the alleyway.
mhm.
Um, I'm just going to go right out there right now and say that Michael Keaton is supplanting that role. The '89 Batman is actually that he fills that role. Um, and I don't think I'm going to go out on further and say that it's not a time travel thing either. I know we're going to get the '89 Batman, but we're not going back to 1989. And I say that for a couple of reasons. Um, going to take you back to the Burton film, the exterior shots of Wayne Manor. I don't know if you've ever seen them before. It's a place in Herefordshire in the United Kingdom, and it's called Nebworth House. So there's a shot of Nebworth House, which was the exteriors of Wayne Manor.
Hmm.
So if you now that you know that, I mean, pay particular attention to this little scene here, because this is Nebworth House, obviously in the wintertime. This is the front gate and the twin dragon statues up here. The opening shot of our trailer
Hmm.
is Barry Allen and other Barry Allen at the front gate of Wayne Manor. And I'm telling you, it's not a time travel story, because that's a Toyota Prius. That is a modern Toyota Prius. They took this this cab from Central City and drove it to Gotham. So that's like, oh, that's really, really cool. All right.
I'm not going to discount time travel just yet,
I'm
though,
not going to discount time travel either,
because they
because
do make that line about you can go anywhere in the time stream in
yeah,
any multiverse.
that's what he says. You can go anywhere you want, any universe, anytime. Why are you fighting so hard for this one?
Yeah.
All right. Unless they found a way to exert the speed force into a car and take
Nah.
the car through time.
Well, they did make a treadmill.
That is true. So one of the things I like about this, and I mean, you can criticize it or you can take it as it is, but I was a big fan of the New 52. And I know that Flashpoint was the story that launched the New 52. So no surprise to me that the Flash costume, no longer are we seeing the now this is the Ezra Miller Flash from Justice League, the cobbled together,
Speed armor.
the space suit, as it were. because that's something that they didn't really focus on in the movie. Was that suit was made with like space alloys that he had stolen?
Yeah, so it could resist
the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the look of the new 52, and I think that this kind of really leans into that. Presumably, this is Barry standing in front of his childhood house.
I would think so.
I would think so as well. There's a voiceover here from Michael Keaton as we were talking about. You can go anywhere, anytime. What makes you, want to fight so hard for this one? But he also says, if you change the past, you change the future. And is that not the '89 Batman cowl smashed on the floor?
Kind of looks like it.
And that's definitely blood. So what's going on here? Is this one of those cautionary, like like in Justice League when they went into the future, when Darkseid invades? Is that one of those? Who knows?
Or could this be literally Warner Brothers and whatnot resetting?
Well, that's the thing.
Usher out the
EU
Zack Snyder universe.
Well, but it doesn't. And I'm gonna. This is why I say that it doesn't. It doesn't usher it. Okay, so maybe we can now tell stories outside of that without being held to it. But this story sets up. I mean, this movie is essentially it's our Loki.
Yeah,
it's our Loki. It opens up the DC multiverse to tell true multiversal stories without being, held to one or the other, where we can have anything goes. People can jump in and jump out sort of as is needed to facilitate the story. And I really think that that's what's going on in this movie. I presume that that's Barry and his mom. And I think, judging by the hairstyle, that it's can we call him the Prime Barry?
Barry Prime.
Barry Prime, I guess that's what we'll call him. But yeah, so it goes back to save mom. We get some cool imagery of him painting the lightning bolt on a boot, like spray painting. But then we get this cool shot of like the ring. So that now the question is, where's that coming from?
Reverse Flash from the future.
Maybe. But then we get this like wicked hero shot of there's a full body shot of New 52 Flash. You can't tell me that's not New 52 Flash or even Rebirth Flash, who looks very much like New 52 Flash.
Mm-hmm. But it certainly looks like the waterfall for the Batcave of the Dark Knight version.
It does look like that, doesn't it? So speaking of the Dark Knight, we get that big reveal where Batman kind of walks up. So clearly this is the Batcave because there's the waterfall in both shots.
Yeah, but the '89 one didn't have a waterfall. He
I don't know
drove through this weird hologram cliff.
Oh, that's right. That's
It
right.
was the Dark Knight that had the waterfall.
Well, maybe there's some creative license going on.
I think so.
Probably. So then we get this like, now I don't know if these two scenes are intrinsically linked, but then as Batman walks up to the edge of the catwalk there, the camera changes over and we get a shot of Barry, and Sasha Calle's Supergirl. It's not plainly obvious that that's Supergirl, but if you've seen some of the marketing materials or I guess they're not even marketing, it's some of the leaks that have come out of this movie, we know that is Sasha Calle's Supergirl, and he basically says, "Are you in?" And yeah, I'm just like, oh, it's so good. But for anybody, I'm gonna not to be a bad spoiler, but I'm going
That's
to
not a bad spoiler.
All right, let's bring this up so people can see this. All right, so Sasha Calle is going to be our Kara. Presumably, they're going to leave the Kara name attached to this character. I don't know if they're going to change that, but she is going to be our Supergirl. And if you haven't seen it yet, there it is. That is your Supergirl in the Flash. Interesting that the costume shares a lot of the textures of the Man of Steel and the Justice League costume, and certainly the S. It's the same S.
Mm-hmm.
So, are we going to get a Henry Cavill appearance in this?
It's possible.
A Superman appearance? Who knows? All right, let's bring that back up here. Okay. And then as the trailer winds down, we get the other Flash, the longer, moppier-haired Flash walks up to what I'm gonna go out on a limb and say is the '89
Yes.
Batmobile.
Just
And
judging from the silhouette, I
well, that's
think
it,
that's
right?
it.
Goes to pull the car cover off, and then the trailer abruptly ends with him, holy, and it ends. So there it is. That is the look at the Flash. Now, that's going to be November 4th, 2022. So I've got a long time to ruminate on this because, man, that seems like a lot. That's still a year away. And, man, for a movie that started out with a lot of uncertainties, there was talk about DC wanting to separate themselves from Ezra Miller over some cancel culture stuff. Um, well, clearly they've stood by him and they believed in him, and they certainly believed in this movie. And I cannot wait to see it.
It's Andy Muschietti directing, right?
Let me just double check.
Pretty sure it's him. But his work on the remake of It is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, Andre Muschietti.
So that alone should be
one thing that
fills me with hope.
One thing that this trailer did not deliver on that we know is Batfleck. Batfleck was nowhere to be seen in this trailer, but we know that both versions of Batman are going to appear in this movie. So I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna play out or how that's gonna work. Maybe it's the future Batman. Maybe the future Batman that is fighting Darkseid. Who knows? All right, what do you think about the Flash, the 2022 Flash?
I'm in for it, but I'm kind of more excited because they're bringing Keaton back.
Yeah,
because the internet has been abuzz a long time. Bringing Keaton back as Batman and making him old Batman opens the door to Batman Beyond.
Not Bruce Timm. Terry
McGinnis.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen all the memes. I've seen all of the stuff. You know, the split screen between the old Bruce and Terry, and then the picture of good Lord, Michael Keaton and I can't even think of who they had in the picture, but I was like, yep, they should be doing the Batman Beyond movie.
Yep.
I still say that. Batman Beyond vibes, maybe. That's a big maybe for me. And as we were just saying, both Andy and I would definitely dig into a Batman Beyond movie. I think the biggest question is, without the Bruce Wayne connection, could Batman Beyond have an audience in a major Hollywood release? Is the character too niche?
Maybe. I think you need the old Batman, because
you've got to have that link.
Yeah, the old Batman is the guide for Terry.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the Obi-Wan of the series, right? I mean, he's the Oracle of the series, quite literally. All right, so those are the big film announcements that came out of Fandom last weekend, but there's a couple other things, Andy, that you wanted to touch on. I know we talked about not necessarily wanting to cover everything because, I mean, there was a lot of comic news, there was some video game news, but there's a few things that are near and dear to your heart that you want to touch on. So let's turn it over to you, man.
This one is not so much near and dear to my heart, but it looks interesting enough. Catwoman is getting a movie release.
Okay, so that's
straight to DVD, apparently February 8th, 2022.
Yeah.
And Catwoman Hunted is the title, but they are really leaning into that anime style.
Right.
Like Sailor Moon-esque, I guess.
Yeah.
Just based on the trailer. And yes, you are correct, Red Swenson. Whispers of a Static Shock, as well as some other milestone characters which might be making appearances.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I mean, that's cool to know.
Mm-hmm. But the real big one that's actually is close to my heart, Harley Quinn season 3 has been announced for
season 3
2022.
So wait, just bring me up to speed here, because now I have not watched a single episode of this.
Well, for that, you're denying yourself pleasure.
How many are we talking? Like cable, like a cable length series, like a 10 episode season, or like
I think there were 13 episodes each.
13? Okay, so not too long.
No, but they're really fun. They're not for kids. They are on the HBO Max
Yeah.
line of things, and they ended it with Harley basically taking poison ivy from her wedding day,
Oh.
and they kind of run off in a Thelma and Louise type vibe.
Nice.
And there's not a lot of new footage. It's a lot of like the animatics and whatnot, kind of
Okay,
showing you.
yeah, pre-visualization
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
but in the thing, they do have Kaylee Cuoco coming back as
Oh,
Harley,
nice. Yeah.
and the dude who did King Shark is back as well.
King Shark.
And the way they're portrayed is fantastic. The supporting cast in this show make the show.
So let's talk about King Shark for a second, because I'm not a. My introduction to King Shark was his first appearance on The Flash, and then more recently his appearance in The Suicide Squad. How is King Shark characterized in this series?
In this series, he's more like a, I don't want to say just a dumb beast, because he's more like a tech genius.
Really?
So he is, yes, he's the lethal King Shark.
Yeah.
He can eat people, but he's also got this background in technology. So he's always on
Right.
the computers. He's always doing stuff like that. And it's very much like a college kid vibe.
Okay.
So,
well, even the look. I mean, it's got a hoodie on.
yeah.
Looks like a pair of Converse. They're like, yeah, I totally get that. Because I know in The Suicide Squad, they really portray him like very animalistic.
Yeah, hand.
Yeah, hand. And yes, that was Sly Stallone as King Shark.
Yeah. But apparently they're going to follow what they're calling it as the Eat Bang Kill tour.
What?
Yeah. That's one of the images. I didn't get it.
Best character on the show is Clayface,
Yes.
or Stephanie, if you prefer.
Clayface is fantastic in that show.
So wait, has Clayface been gender swapped to a female?
Clayface does whatever role he needs to do in whatever.
Whatever. Okay, well that's cool.
But they're playing him up as like this Shakespearean actor, so he's not even so much villain as actor.
Oh, right,
Really
right.
over the top actor.
So he's like Trevor. Trevor Slattery.
A little bit.
He's the Trevor Slattery of the show.
A little bit, but way more, confident in his acting ability.
Sure.
Then you've got also Dr. Psycho.
Okay.
The little fellow there. And he brings the role of your misogynistic, arsehole.
Right.
So he kind of balances out the other two. But
all right. So that's
oddly enough, though, there is a comic series right now. I believe it's a 6-issue miniseries.
Yeah.
Called Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy: The Eat Bang Kill Tour.
Interesting.
Which picks up minutes after the finale of season 2.
Oh,
so I don't know if season 3 is just going to adapt it, or if they're going to pick it up like, as a flashback.
Right.
We just pick up with them, after this series.
Okay. Well,
so
it's on HBO Max. So for me, because I don't have HBO Max, but I do have Crave, and I have Crave Plus Movies. I wonder if I can watch that.
I do believe it also goes to Showtime.
Then no, because Showtime I'll have to pay more.
But
all right,
I guess the Doom Patrol is also getting another season.
Doom Patrol, they talked about Doom Patrol. Season 3 is airing right now.
Yep.
And they did the mid-season trailer. And I avoided it because we did watch Doom Patrol, and I am going to consume the 3rd season. I'm just not in it yet. So I've enjoyed Doom Patrol. Really loved that Brandon Fraser is back in the public eye. It's such a cool role for him. The show is super cool. It's in sort of the same vein as Titans.
Yes, which is also getting another season.
Yeah. Another one that I'm really looking forward to. Any other Fandom announcements you want to talk about?
Not that well, I guess it is pretty cool that they're bringing the Court of Owls to one of the games.
Yeah, and then the other one, that video game that caught my attention was Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out, whether it's a fighting game or an action adventure game. But man, I don't have time for video games anymore. I'm too busy doing this. All right, guys, that's been our look at last weekend's DC Fandome event. Why don't you guys hit us up on our social media? That's Fandom Power on Facebook and Instagram or on Twitter. Tell us what your favorite event, favorite announcements were from Fandom. Did we miss something that you would have liked us to have talked about? I'm sorry if we did. Let us know your thoughts on what's going on in the upcoming world of DC Comics and Warner Brothers Pictures. And don't forget to share the show with like-minded people who you think are going to like our show. We're really trying to make a push. We've basically been at it for a year now.
Yeah.
And hence the transition for me anyway into a new home studio, because I feel like I'm going to be at this for a while. So we could really use the help and support, especially where our YouTube channel is concerned. You can catch us at Sawcast Productions on YouTube. We'd really appreciate the viewing hours to help us push over that monetization threshold, because the more support we get from you, the better quality videos that we can produce. So as always, you can find us where podcasts are found. We're pretty much everywhere now.
Mm-hmm.
And as new channels get added to our host platform, we keep adding them. So if you're down in the States, if you're listening to us in the States, you can catch us on Amazon, not currently in Canada. And soon you'll be able to consume us right here on Facebook, as soon as the integrated podcast player rolls out in Canada. Mm-hmm. Apparently it's available in the States already, so we've already done the legwork to set that up. So all right, guys, for Fandom Power, my name is Wes.
I'm Andy.
And we'll catch you next time. Bye for now.